Well, the cool thing is nobody knows who's saying it.
They can figure it
Well,
There
they know us pretty well.
There won't be the
so.
voice recognition. So unless you blow your cover and you give them your name. Calming tea. I need to be a little calmer right now. It's been a bit hectic. It's good though. Hectic is better than boring, yes. Well, does anybody want to fire a question? There are a couple things I'm going to make sure I cover, but...
Will you cover your stuff first? Because I want to make sure we hear it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not here to brag about it though.
No, I don't think you are. I love your stuff.
Okay, so the main thing that I do is the Infinity Greens formula. You have the green drink in the morning, and it's a blend of blue-green algae and herbs. And these are different foods. They're just foods. People call them superfoods sometimes. And each one of those foods in that green drink has some special nutritive purpose targeting some specific organ or function in the body. And so that's why people feel a difference. You could look at it as a bit of a multivitamin, natural multivitamin from food, but it's more just to give that extra nutritive support. It's not fuel. It's a nominal amount of calories. It's just, again, nutritive support, and it's the nutritive support in this diet in general, the green drink, the fruits and vegetables from our garden, that is essentially triggering every organ and function to operate at its elite level. You're just fine-tuning this machine so that you can do so much exercise. I mean, for many of you, it would be for me, this is the most exercise you'll ever do in a week. Hiking 65 miles, up and down thousands of vertical feet this week. Are you serious? Plus 2 yoga classes, plus an exercise class, a full class, and then all the other just hanging out you do. Are you serious? On fewer calories. It blows all
How many
over.
calories a day do you think you're having?
Oh, we don't even measure that anymore. It's so irrelevant. With the whole calorie thing in your diet, you actually have more flexibility than you would think. You know, it doesn't have to be the same number every day. The reason we had to become calorie counters is because we needed some way to keep ourselves from overdoing it. And when we started overdoing it is, A, when our food just became too nutrient depleted from too much processed food. It's the nutrients that satisfy, because that's what our bodies are instinctively starving for. So when you're not getting that nutrition the body's craving, you just have to keep piling in the calories. It's also fats, healthy fats that satiate, to protect you from overeating. So back in the 90s when we all went to a low-fat diet, everybody got fatter.
Right.
And that fat is fuel. People don't think of it.
How are we getting fat this week?
There's fat in your food. There are oils. There are oils in your food. We use a lot of olive oil and like the soup last night. Did you all like that?
We love that.
Good. It's a new recipe that I
It's
did.
a great addition.
And
What is it?
ghee, butter oil. And I consider butter and butter oil to be amazingly healthy foods. I know that may raise some eyebrows, but they are. They've been in the human diet. Huh?
Ghee.
It's butter oil, and it's called ghee, and it became popular maybe a decade ago, but it's been in the human diet, especially in Asia, for tens of thousands of years.
And in Moroccan, I do a lot of Moroccan cooking, and it's in that too.
Yeah, and it's the best oil to cook with, that and coconut. And the reason you want to cook with those is because they're heat stable. Other oils break down under heat. And those oils are unsaturated fats. They're liquid at room temperature. That would be like olive oil, canola, safflower, sunflower, soybean oil. All of those liquid oils are heat sensitive. You don't want to cook with those.
Okay, so
When you cook with them, they become rancid. They basically break down in a way. It produces some kind of free radical that when in your diet, it irritates your thyroid. You irritate your thyroid, metabolism goes down. So what happened back in the 90s...
Oh my God, I always cook with olive oil.
I know, and every body type is different. I know the Italians seem to get away with it, but if they started using a healthy saturated fat, and I know that sounds healthy saturated fat, what? They would be healthier. And so it's saturated fats that you want to cook with because they don't break down the same way. So that would be butter, ghee, coconut oil, cacao butter, chocolate oil.
Did you just say butter as one? Like butter and then ghee? Like you could do butter
in addition to ghee?
They're virtually the same thing.
Okay.
The difference is butter has a little bit of protein. So the way ghee is made is the butter is low boiled until the residual protein separates. And the advantage is it doesn't burn. You can burn butter. It doesn't become unhealthy when you burn it.
Okay,
Like
good.
the oils don't break down, it's the protein burning.
Okay.
And so ghee is better. Still, I cook my eggs in butter, but I'm just conscientious of not overheating it. So now, saturated fat. Again, these healthy fats don't make you fat. What happened, again, was we discovered in the 90s, whoa, we have these cheap oil alternatives to butter and coconut oil and olive oil that are more expensive. We can do canola. We can do safflower, sunflower, corn, soybean. Oils for pennies. Now, the way that they're processed, and then they just sit in a container in a warehouse for months and months, again, they become rancid. And they're in everything. They're in everything. All the healthy salad dressings, it's canola oil. And even the one that says olive oil, that ingredient is way down the totem pole. And all the canned products, canned soups, some of the worst products are low-fat snack foods. All the chips, cookies, crackers, because they say low-fat, but it's that rancid, cheap oil fat that just that constantly trickling through your system, you're constantly irritating your thyroid. What?
I think that's why you never feel full if you have like a low fat.
Well, yes, again, fat, calories, I mentioned nutrients satiate your appetite. It's fat that satiates your appetite the most. And so when we went to a low-fat diet, we just kept overdoing it, and so we had to be like, okay, I need to somehow measure this so I don't overdo it. That's why there was such a buzz about counting calories. And so what we need to remember is healthy fats are just fuel. Fat and carbs are both fuel. That's why people can subsist on a low-carb diet. I did. And fat is actually kind of one of my areas of expertise because it was a key ingredient in my own health revival. I basically just had a head injury that triggered seizures. That's how I got into all of this. 14 years ago, head injury, and I mean, it was so severe that I just had to focus my whole lifestyle on my health. It was, diet, exercise, the right amount of rest, everything. But diet was the most important. Because think about it. Your diet is serving all these organs and functions, but ultimately all these organs and functions are serving this. I know we think of this being the core of our health, but this is the core of our health. Well, and that's the other thing, is the brain is made of fat. That's why people, when we went to a low-fat diet, they just got cranky. And you become malnourished because you have to remember that so many nutrients are fat-soluble. What that means is you need fat present in your diet as a catalyst. Otherwise, you can be getting massive amounts of one nutrient, and it just passes right through because it doesn't have fat present to metabolize it. So, and for me, when I went to a high-fat diet, for whatever reason, I don't know the biochemistry behind it. It's a little out of my area of expertise, but when the body is running on fat as fuel, it puts your brain into a state of what's called ketosis, and it began controlling the seizures. I wish I could say it was 100%, but I'm grateful to be able to say that my health is now 95%. I mean, these were seizures that I was having all day where I would wake up with a broken shoulder. And now, fortunately, the symptoms are so mild that I don't lose consciousness. I just have to be quiet and still, and I can control it. Not all bad. It's humbling. That's one really good thing about it. And then when I'm talking to people, it takes like 30 seconds, and they're like, ooh, he's thinking. What's he thinking about? So it stirs some curiosity. So see, it has multiple benefits. And it keeps pushing me. Because if I let my health get away from me, if I start to lose this really precision-tuned equilibrium that I work to create with my lifestyle, those symptoms can come back. So anyway, back to what we were talking about.
So when you say you were eating you have transitioned to a high-fat diet.
Yeah.
What?
Now it's sort of come back, so it's a little
What
more
are healthy
Even.
fats?
But what are the healthy
Okay.
fats that you believe are the best for our body?
Okay, so we have the two primary categories of unsaturated, which just means they're liquid until you refrigerate them. Then, like olive oil, even though it's an unsaturated fat, can become a solid. And then your saturated fats, which again are like butter, coconut, cheaper hydrogenated vegetable oils. That's a saturated fat. And then, of course, animal lard. Those are saturated fats. And so the elite are coconut, and also some nuts and seeds like macadamia nuts. Those are good quality saturated fats, and then butter and ghee. And I really do consider those to be important. Now, saturated does require some degree of moderation, because if you overdo these saturated fats, it can raise your cholesterol. Now, again, you have quite a bit of flexibility. You don't have to keep it to like 1 tablespoon. Anywhere between 1 and 5. Is that going to raise your cholesterol if you have an active lifestyle? No. If you have heart disease, fine. You have to cut saturated fat out of your diet, hopefully for just a period, and do massive amounts of essential fatty acids. So even if a food is cholesterol free, like coconut, it can still raise your cholesterol.
So what about avocados? What are they?
It's a little bit of both. Most nuts and seeds are a little bit of both, and that's okay. It's a balance.
Okay.
But raw nuts and seeds, because there are unsaturated oils in there, it's important to have them raw, not roasted. Okay, I mean, are these foods going to hurt you if you have them on occasion, if you go out to a restaurant? No. We're talking about just the majority of your lifestyle. What are the groceries you're buying at the store? What are you stocking your house with? That's what we're talking about.
Well, I want to know this because I never cook with butter because I think it's
Right.
fattening. I never cook with butter. I cook with olive oil or the olive oil spray.
I know. It's
And-
always a little bit alarming.
So, I mean, if I saute vegetables in a tablespoon of butter, like I think, well, that makes the vegetables fat.
No.
Or
Far
that would
superior.
actually be better.
Yes, if you're going to really saute and you're not going to keep an eye on it, use ghee.
You use ghee.
It doesn't burn.
But it's not going to make me fat.
No. Nope.
That's okay.
It's fuel.
That's good to know.
It's fuel.
And then and then what about like, like the spray, like olive oil Pam? Is that just horrible for you?
It is such junk. Even though it
I
says
just have to, you know.
even though it says 0 grams of fat,
Yeah.
it's oil. The reason they're saying 0 grams is because a serving is just it's not even a quarter teaspoon.
What about the?
And it's rancid, but the thing is even though it's they say it's 0 grams fat, it's
Yeah.
just a minuscule amount. There is fat, it's just less than 1 gram. So that's why they can say 0. They don't have to say 0.4. They
But
just
it would
don't
be
have
better
to.
just to cook
Absolutely.
in general with butter.
Absolutely.
Or ghee. A ghee.
Absolutely.
Can you get this ghee? Like, where do you get it? At
Any
like a
natural
Whole
food
Foods?
store.
Anywhere?
It's very common now. It's very
What
popular.
about the Pam butter spray then?
Yeah, total garbage.
Why?
Well, because it's just cheap oils in there, and even though it's just a little,
Of butter.
again, those cheap oils, Pam, whatever it is in there, it's probably soybean or corn or safflower or canola, one of those cheaper oils. Again, just that little trickle of rancid oil in your diet, it's constantly just irritating your thyroid.
Yeah, the
It's
one
just
thing
that
you don't want to
constant
irritate.
irritation.
And your
You're better
thyroid
off-
says feed me? Is that the...
What?
Does your thyroid say feed me? Is that the issue with the thyroid being stimulated?
So it's interesting.
I'm not sure it's fine.
So you're
Well-
saying you're feeding the thyroid with...
Irritating the
Yeah.
So what-
Irritating the
so,
thyroid.
what's the impact of that? Does that mean that your thyroid's saying, give me more food, or what's...
No, what I mean is that rancid oils are irritating your thyroid,
Yeah.
which is a bit of a gauge for your body's metabolism. So that when you eat it, your metabolism can go down. The
It
rate at
slows,
which it-
slows your
down.
metabolism.
Yes.
That was my
Yes,
question.
exactly.
Would you say a good rule of thumb with cooking is, because I just read something and this woman was talking about just sort of that whatever you're eating or cooking or whatever, it's better to use foods in their real state. So if it calls for milk, use the bloody milk. Don't use the low-fat milk.
That is
You know,
so true.
If it calls
That is
for
so
butter,
spot on.
use the butter.
Yes.
If whatever the food is,
Mhm.
forget forget the fat-free, forget the
Mhm.
just use the real food.
Yes.
But of course, we've been conditioned that I think
Yeah.
if I do that, I'm going to be the size of a
Right,
house.
right. It was just a hypnotic spell, again, that happened in the 90s. And so I totally agree with your theory about like dairy. Whole milk, less of it. The best quality of dairy is the fat. I know it's saturated fat. A little bit of saturated fat in your diet is important. Again, it's what your brain is made of. This suffers on a low saturated fat diet. Again, fine, if you have heart disease, cut dairy out of your life, just for a period, hopefully. If you have to have dairy, fine, go with the low fat stuff. But then, okay, so skim milk, we should be calling it lactose concentrate. Why is everybody becoming sensitive to lactose? Because we're overdoing it. Again, it's,
Wait, I love skim milk.
I know.
I drink it every day.
I know.
So you're telling me just drink a smaller glass of whole milk?
Whole milk, less of it.
What do you recommend
Whole
with
milk,
cereal?
less of it. On cereal?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, milk is fine. The question is, what's the cereal made of? Cereal's a tough one, you know. It's kind of like the similar story to all the cheap oils. We just use massive amounts of cheap grains, I mean, mostly wheat. Most natural, organic cereal is some kind of wheat product, and it's fuel, but it comes with a bit of a price.
What about almond milk?
Yeah,
That's
what-
okay.
That's what I
I
was
was
thinking you were
And
gonna
I,
say.
So-
I buy like Nature's Best and it has
Right.
like all the different grains and flax and a bunch of different stuff
Mhm.
with almond milk.
Well, see, almond milk, you got to remember the almonds, nut, seed, there are oils in there. The way it's pasteurized so it can sit in a box, those oils do go rancid. Now, is using it here and there going to throw your thyroid off? Probably not. But you want a boxed milk? Go with one that is a saturated fat that is heat stable. If you want an alternative to dairy, coconut. There's coconut milk.
Really?
And it's a good product.
Wow.
I wouldn't,
I've
you know,
never-
it's
I
nice.
don't like coconut, so does it taste coconutty? Or
You have
does
to try it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it tastes coconutty. I mean, they've tried to modify the recipe so it tastes semi-close to milk, but you can make almond milk, and that stuff's rocking. That stuff's awesome.
What if
It's
you
a-
make your own almond milk?
Yes.
It's raw. Yeah.
I don't
So-
even make your own almond.
So what you
Just
do,
soak it in
I mean,
water.
it's slightly labor intensive. Basically, you just soak your almonds overnight,
Uh-huh.
and they swell up to like double their size.
It's fun.
And then you put them in a high power blender like a Vitamix, which everybody should have. They're so useful, and I'll tell you why. They're a huge tool in the kitchen for us, and they're great because I'm a total believer in doing blended foods like blended smoothies, and also just throwing raw veggies in there and making sauces, soups, dips, dressings, things of that nature. How did I get talking about this?
Almond milk.
Okay,
Almond,
so
how to make almond milk.
thank you.
Yeah.
So you were soaking your almonds.
So
overnight.
yes, and then you put them in the blender with just water, high power, blend, 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 and then you pour it through cheesecloth, and it filters all the chunks out, and now it's
How
like
long does
milk.
it stay fresh in your fridge if you do it that way?
Yeah,
Oh,
with the
probably
with the
a
Vitamix,
couple
it all
weeks.
takes, I mean, other than soaking the almonds,
So
it
you
takes
do a
2
big
seconds.
load of it.
Yeah, I could make almond milk.
It
I
takes
don't
2
cook.
seconds
I
when-
cook
once you
on- I
remember
don't
to
cook.
soak it.
No.
What are the things that throw off your thyroid? What are the things to avoid? You mentioned.
Basically, cooked unsaturated fats. So I mean that's a huge arena of food. I mean, we were just talking about all the low-fat snack foods that have all those cheap
So if you
oils,
cook
even
in
there, even
olive
though
oil, it's not good.
it's not.
It's
It
not
really
good.
isn't. Now, is it going to hurt you here and there? No. But the majority of the time, cook with a heat-stable oil. Cook with a heat-stable oil. It's better. It is.
And what about this hemp milk that they serve here?
Well, now we make that in the blender. And that's easier than almond milk because it's a non-fibrous seed, and so it just blends totally smooth. It
So you
doesn't
don't have to
require.
soak it, you
Really?
just chuck it in the blender?
Yes.
You don't even have to soak it?
No.
You just buy hemp seeds
Mm-hmm.
and put it in your Vitamix
Mm-hmm.
With some water.
and put it through a cheese.
No, you don't have to filter it through a
You have to do
cheesecloth.
that.
It's
You can just
non-fibrous.
pour it
Where
on the
almonds,
Vitamix?
almonds you need to pour through a cheesecloth. Otherwise, it's just kind of like sawdusty in there.
Ah, okay.
So.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
so I mentioned cereal. It sounded like you weren't that excited about cereal. What are good breakfasts?
Well, okay, so there are some cereals. There's a few. Like, have you heard of Ezekiel cereal?
Well,
Yeah.
we
Where
had
it's-
it the other day and it was fantastic.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's vastly superior to products with wheat flour and too much oat flour and even all the granola.
Does
don't
that
have
mean Lucky
sugar
Charms
in
is
it.
What
off
about
the table?
like kashi, that brand kashi? Is that any good?
I can't really say. I mean, for like a breakfast grain, oatmeal's cool.
What?
Just make oatmeal's cool. Just
I
make
like
sure
oatmeal stuff.
you like oatmeal.
What about all
Just
grain?
make sure in your oatmeal that you get some fats in the morning. Put either a tablespoon or a round tablespoon of either butter or coconut oil in there.
What about honey?
Honey's cool. I'm a believer in honey, that it has medicinal properties. It is sugar, but used in moderation, and it does stimulate your immune system raw.
And what
Raw
about
honey.
all brand cereal?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
It doesn't look
I
that
don't know.
What about yogurt?
What
Like
about
yogurt for breakfast.
Yogurt's cool.
I eat a lot of yogurt.
Yeah, I mean it's more easily digested than milk because the probiotic culture eats up some of the lactose, which many people kind of are sensitive to because we overdo dairy. So eventually the body's like, oh, no more. But whole dairy, less of it.
whole
Whole
less
yogurt.
So no
Whole
fat.
yogurt,
you know,
less
Yeah,
of
just
it.
regular
all that
yogurt,
non-fat
right?
Yes.
yogurt.
Greek
So
yogurt,
you have
whole,
you have
so
Greek
good.
yogurt, like,
Yeah.
Veggie zero.
we can't do
Fat.
that? No,
It's
we gotta
such it's
100%.
just it
Marketing.
was a yeah. If you eat one of those little single servings of yogurt and they put sugar in it, even if you get the sugar free, you're like, dang, did I eat anything? It doesn't satisfy you.
Yeah.
It's just lactose and protein
It's Greek
and
yogurt
and
is
animal
sugar.
protein, dairy protein, and animal protein, meat make you tired. So if you have animal protein, whether it's mainly meat, if you have animal protein in your diet, save it for end of the day, nighttime. Like when people have chicken salad for lunch, I'm like, oh no, they're going to be tired.
So tell us what you
It's
have for
meat is
breakfast.
restorative. Meat is restorative. Protein is not fuel. Remember, it's fats and carbs that are fuel. And you have a lot of flexibility there with how much your diet is is carbohydrates and how much is fat. Just make sure you have enough fat so that you don't overeat. But that fat in your diet, you're going to burn it as fuel. Just make sure it's the elite fat, like we're talking about. Now, there's the category of animal lard. That requires some moderation. That if you overdo animal lard, that's the stuff that can really raise your cholesterol. So the worst, naturally, is ground beef, ground pork products, bacon. So go lean. Lean, elite, less of it.
Lean, elite, less of it. Okay.
When it comes to animal protein, we're talking about meat.
So could we
What
go
about
back to-
fish?
Oh,
Sorry.
No, that's a good
It's a tricky one now because the majority of fish products are unfortunately toxic. It's just a little bit, so having it once in a while, I don't think is going to affect you. The liver is a powerful thing, and plenty of greens in your diet will help remedy that a bit.
So you're
And
not a fan of sushi?
not really. I used to eat fish, but I just don't anymore. My body is so sensitive that little things that irritate, that make things not work at their elite level, eventually reflect here. I can start having seizures. It's a delicate balance. I mean, when I say delicate balance, I don't feel that my strength isn't delicate. When things are on, I feel like I can do this. I can do other sort of extreme activities and things of that nature. But
I'm
yeah.
raising my hand like we're in school. Can we go
Yeah.
back to breakfast? So can
Yeah.
you give us, I see, the problem is that I think a lot of, like, speaking for the five of us,
Okay.
is that we want to be healthy, but we also would love the guidelines. Like,
Okay.
it's good to and
Great.
walk away here with some
Great.
kind of a toolkit.
Great. Let's go straight to the finish line.
Okay.
So here's what to eat in the morning. I'm a fan of, first of all, having more frequent, smaller meals. Not snacking. You got to give your digestive system a break in between meals. But what will really zap your energy, if you just have a couple meals a day and they're large, your energy does this. Digesting a big meal zaps your energy. It makes you tired. So people who start their day with like stimulants, like coffee, and they don't have a meal for hours, it's not good. It's not good, and your body instinctively,
My life.
and your metabolism goes down when you live that protocol. So, smaller, more frequent. The body likes sugar in the morning because it's instant brain fuel, where grains and protein and fats can take hours to be converted into fuel. That's why people instinctively like fruit. You got to go with the elite sugar. Elite sugar is fruit. Glucose, instant brain fuel. I feel smoothies are absolutely brilliant because you're getting your natural sugar in there. You can put some easy to digest protein in there, like raw almond butter or a scoop of whole yogurt. You can put, if you need to supplement with some protein, you can do a little protein powder and put your grains that you have here in the morning. Then you're getting your nutritive value. You're getting your chlorophyll. Now,
Just mix that green stuff with your smoothie.
yes, that's what you're basically having. You're having like an unsweet shot of smoothie. We could do a smoothie breakfast here for you guys, but there just isn't time for it. That's why there is 3 primary meals. You have some snacks in between. So.
Do you need the protein powder?
Not everybody. Now for
Okay.
What is it best for? The
Well-
protein powder.
I'm vegetarian. My body requires a massive amount of protein. I can only do so many nuts and seeds and eggs and yogurt. I need some kind of plant protein. And there are plant proteins. I mean, all vegetables have some degree of protein. Edamame, tempeh, tofu. I don't do too many soy products. So, I mean, personally, I supplement with a protein powder. You know, not to brag, but it's my own product, and I believe in it. I love it. I formulated it originally just for myself. You know, it's sprouted plant foods essentially, and so I supplement with some protein. I put some protein powder. You know, I want some vegetarian, easy to digest morning protein. And the cool thing about, now we've made this smoothie like this well-rounded meal. If you just have a fruit smoothie where it's just fruit and ice in there, or if you eat a banana, you're going to be hungry in 20 minutes. But fruit digests beautifully with protein fats. That's why instinctively we like yogurt and berries. We like nuts and dried fruit. We like banana splits. We won't do banana splits so much, but we let's see. What are some other good examples? Almond butter with an apple. Okay, those sound nice, don't they? Instinctively, the body likes protein fats with sugar, or honey in your yogurt, because now the metabolizing that sugar with the protein fat stabilizes your blood sugar somewhat. Because if you just have fruit by itself,
You're hungry
not that that's
and
bad, but
no, but you're hungry sooner or later.
yeah. So smoothie is brilliant. Liquid meal, easy to digest. I'm a believer in that in the morning. Again, you're getting your instant glucose. So.
And if you were making a smoothie like, with fruit, protein powder, would you put milk in it?
You could, but my choice, I don't do milk, I do yogurt. It's just easier to digest, and I feel yogurt goes really well in smoothies.
And just a plain yogurt, no
anything.
Whole yogurt, less of it.
100% whole milk type of.
Oh, okay.
Like I go with dairy, I am picky. I'm only going to do organic. Okay, if I'm out and about and I'm at a smoothie bar or whatever, it's on occasion. But the yogurt that I buy, it's certified organic. It comes in a glass bottle.
I've been sensing that soy protein, people are sort of negative on soy protein.
Overdoing soy can affect your estrogen balance.
So
A little
for women.
bit of soy, some tofu here and there, some edamame, some tempeh. All right, it's just that constant trickle.
Yeah, when everybody
in our
switched
system.
from
Right.
milk to soy,
Yes.
we went to
Yes.
once again overdoing it. I think the unintended consequence of that
Right.
was for women it
So
was bad for their estrogen.
it's soy milk, but there's just soy protein isolate in everything.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
all the low
Drives
fat
me crazy.
snack foods, it's in there. All the bread products now, it's in there, and it's just that constant trickle.
So
It's
wheatgrass,
kind of like the whole.
What's superior? What's?
I don't like wheatgrass.
Okay.
I don't like it. It's not in your green drink, and I don't believe in wheatgrass. It's only been in the human diet for 40 years. We discovered it back in the 70s. Whoa, greens for pennies.
Right.
And it's while nutritive, it comes with a price. It's irritating to the gastrointestinal system. Constantly irritate your gastrointestinal system with regular wheatgrass, and it makes it weaker. And that's why people, when they take a wheatgrass shot, they're like, oh boy, here it goes. And then they can feel a little queasy afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it. I do not believe in wheatgrass. The green drink, blue-green algae. Spirulina, chlorella, Klamath-like algae, they've been in the human diet for 100,000
But
years.
you sell that in a powder. Do you
Right.
make that in a powder?
Yes.
And so
these ingredients, the blue-green algae, they're dried. They're dehydrated at low temperatures, and then they're ground into a fine powder. And then in the tea cabinet, they're encapsulated.
But can we put the powder in our smoothie?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we
Okay.
did here.
So,
So this powder,
the
you
one
just
that's
put
from
into your
the yogurt
smoothie.
and the fruit, we put
Yes.
your
And so that what we have in the morning is that powder with a banana.
So yes, it's just the powder with a banana and some hemp seeds for a little protein fat in there. I'm going to
water.
give you, yes, and I'm going to give you my favorite recipe, which is half a banana, and I like to freeze it. It makes it like a cold smoothie.
Yeah.
In the summers, in a colder season, I tend not to freeze it. So frozen half banana, like 5 frozen strawberries, a big round tablespoon of almond butter, a round tablespoon of yogurt, and 3 heaping teaspoons of my greens. And so, boom, you're getting natural sugar, protein, fats, nutrients.
And no protein.
I do put protein in mine.
Okay.
I do.
So how do we know if we need the protein or we don't?
Well, I mean, it depends. You know, for me, what tested that theory is when I'm vegetarian, I get too skinny to where I just don't have the muscle mass to maintain my frame. You know, my posture starts getting worse and worse.
Got it.
When I have animal protein in my diet, I'm bigger, I'm heavier. But it comes with a price. It's also wear and tear on my system.
Yeah.
Because animal protein, too much animal protein it's weakening for your digestion. You know, it's a hard to digest food. That's why animal protein makes you tired. That's why it's important to wait until the end of the day so it's not making you tired in the middle of the day like I mentioned earlier. The thing with animal protein is that metabolic waste does accumulate in your system over time. That's why it's then important to cut it out entirely and do cleanses, where I believe in more just a cleansing lifestyle in general so you don't have to do the heroic detoxes. Your body's always detoxing. You just want to tip the balance so that you're doing more detox than retox.
Yeah.
So I don't think animal protein is going to be in the human diet forever. I think we're going to evolve our diet to realize that we can get all the plant protein we need.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I don't have a perfect solution just yet. But I think that one will be discovered not too far in our future.
Thank you.
But, I mean, you just have to try it. I mean, try going vegetarian for a while, for a few months, and just see how you feel. Take some inventory. See what your body looks like, what it feels like. For me, I just have more energy. Because animal protein, again, it can wear you down.
Yeah.
It builds you up, but it wears you down.
What do you think about drinking hot drinks all day long versus cold drinks? Do you have any opinion
Well,
about
you
that?
can overdo hot drinks. I do have hot tea in the morning, so instinctively the body does like hot things in the morning because your body is a cooler temperature when you wake up. Is that okay? I think so. Drinking tea all day long. Ripping hot, too much ripping hot it can be wear and tear. So, but I definitely am a huge fan of hot tea in the morning. But I have definitely cooked my taste buds. So, I do make my own chai. Or I blend a massive amount of ginger. That may actually be why the body craves hot liquids all day, is because your body's temperature is cooler than it should be, and ginger is a curative. Ginger actually raises your body's temperature. Stimulates your spleen. Your spleen is like your body's heater. Ginger is an awesome food. Helps make your digestion stronger, and it warms the body. More cooked food, like the stew you had last night. Warm, hearty soups are really good. I know there's the whole buzz about the raw diet, but it's a balance. Too many raw foods can cool your body's temperature. Law of nature, raw foods cool the body, cooked foods warm the body. Even if the food isn't necessarily hot or cold, it's just a law of human biology. And so it's a balance. You're constantly eating raw foods, fine, do more of that in the summer, but you can if you dampen your spleen too much, then your digestion gets weaker and it makes you gassy. Have your raw fruits and vegetables. Most people need more raw fruits and vegetables. But the body loves soups, stews, things of that nature. But people, when I tell them soup and salad, they get a little depressed because our general concept of salad is like romaine with a minuscule amount of cheap dressing, and soups are just like vegetables floating in water. The key to make soup really satisfying: butter, ghee, like you had last night. That's why you loved it so much. It's those quality fats.
I've done that with
make the body happy.
With the butternut squash soup recipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put in butter and a little bit of like cream, heavy cream.
Yeah.
Really kicks it up a notch.
The butter really does the trick. I'll tell you what makes a soup really thick and hearty though. Cream's an option, but what we do with this one And this is really universal. Soup is the easiest thing to make. I make myself a gallon pot of soup every week, and then I just eat that for dinner. So you just pick your few favorite vegetables. So mine are sweet potato, broccoli, and kale. This one is sweet potato, broccoli, kale, cabbage, and green beans. So you just chop them up fine. I mean, not super fine, to your liking. And then throw it in the pot, just boil it. But you only fill the pot up halfway with water. So you put this many vegetables, whatever, all chopped up, this much water. Because you got to remember, these are high water content foods. So that once you cook it, it kind of becomes watery. So you cook it for 10-15 minutes until it becomes soft. And then this is the key, is scoop about a quarter of the pot out into the blender. Blend it, liquefy it, pour it back in. Now you have a really hearty, thick, stewy base. Then you add a stick of butter, now you're golden.
A whole stick of butter?
Well, for a gallon of soup, I put 2. And if you break it up, then I'm only getting 1 or 2 tablespoons of butter. That's not that much in a serving.
I know.
Yeah, I know. It's just
Pure.
I kinda switched over to
This is
butter.
The way it's made.
yeah.
I switched over to butter.
Well, I love butter, so it's one thing I'm doing right.
Yeah,
me too. We don't have butter in our house. I mean, I have never cooked with butter.
Yeah.
Butter's like
Even the
sacred in my
Italians,
house.
though, they don't cook with a lot of olive oil. I think the Americans have taken the use of olive oil, cooking with olive oil, and they put it on steroids. Because I don't think the Italians, a lot of their recipes are a lot of olive oil,
Right.
or necessarily all of them. I just think that we make it cuckoo.
But in general, you wouldn't consider Italian food all that healthy.
Not really.
Depends.
Pasta.
It would just,
Pasta.
well, the thing is,
Southern.
that's again an Americanization of what Italians eat.
Exactly.
They eat a lot of vegetables.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
And they also grow a lot of their own fruit
Yes.
and vegetables, so it's.
I'm not too much of an expert on the Italian diet, just what exactly it is. I only really know the American
Right.
Italian. So
But what about, okay, so I understand pasta is just smaller, less, but there's no way to make that good for you?
not really. I mean, pasta's processed grain. Now, okay, just a little bit here and there. It's like, what are you having the pasta with?
Right.
You're making you want to make really healthy foods more palatable, so you aren't just having to eat salad all the time. How about just cook a little pasta, and then after it's done, drain it, and then while it's still really hot, throw a big massive handful of spinach in there and put the lid on it. Let it just sit in that hot temperature, even though the flame isn't on. We'll soften it so it's all just like this, and then throw a tablespoon of butter in there, and now you're golden. And you're okay. You're using a little bit of pasta to make processed grains. You're using processed grains as a medium to get down lots of just greens. We should talk about greens because, we all instinctively know, or most of us instinctively know, that green foods are the most important foods in our diet. We all know that, of course, plant foods, but out of all the plant foods, greens. All green foods. Of course, not green icing and Tic Tacs. Well, they're okay, actually. Just kidding. Okay, so we're talking kale, arugula, spirulina, blue-green algae, chlorella, spinach, parsley, cilantro, mustard greens, arugula, all of these different greens. Why are they the most important? Not only are they among the most nutritive, we're always thinking about what nutrients, what calories to put in. We need to be more conscientious of getting the not so good out. The big picture of our diet, the big picture. Get the funk out, put the restorative in. And it's green foods that do half of the big picture. It's green foods that pull the funk out. It's chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is what makes all living green things green. Chlorophyll is this molecule that has a strong negative charge to it. That in your diet, in your bloodstream, it bonds to toxins. It bonds to toxins. So that toxins, it's such a big have. People think, I don't have toxins in my body. You got to remember that we all have metals accumulating in our body from processed grains. How do we make those grains into flours? Blenders, grinders. And blenders just wear down after a while. There is minuscule amounts of metal in processed grains, which accumulates in the body over time. Think about how we're pumping our drinking water through miles of pipes. Think about we're not breathing the best air quality, unfortunately. We're not drinking the best water. And metabolic waste, just from too much processed food and too much animal protein. That stuff slowly accumulates in the body over time, and it's simply wear and tear. It just makes everything weaker. That's why here, we just are doing a massive amount of green foods, everything from green drinks in the morning to fresh greens from our garden every day. Tonight, you have a green spinach sauce. So it isn't always just salads. I mean, you can do it in smoothies, and you can put raw spinach in the blender and make, again, soups, sauces, dips. Like, you're going to have some of those this week. But more greens, the better. Law of human biology. You don't necessarily have to eat a salad, but at the very least, with a meal, like if you're going to have a pot of stew, soup at night, at the very least, just grab a big, massive handful of arugula and just eat it. It doesn't taste bad. We don't always have to flavor it with salad dressing, or if you don't like arugula, fine. Eat a big handful of spinach. Romaine, iceberg, really? Are you getting that much? No.
What
Yeah.
about putting, sorry to interrupt you, what about putting some kale in your smoothie in the morning?
That's cool.
I mean, because then
That's cool.
you don't really taste it, and you've gotten it,
Yeah.
and you started your day with that.
Yeah, more green the better. The reason I'm such a believer in blue-green algae, it's the greatest concentration of chlorophyll. Remember, it's chlorophyll that makes things green, so the darker the green, the better. That's why kale is awesome. But consider a teaspoon of spirulina, blue-green algae. It makes that green glass so dark green that even if you hold it up to the light, you can't see anything through it. And so it's important stuff. Okay, so here is sort of the backdoor secret to weight loss, and people just it needs to be more widely known that toxins accumulating in the body are what make fat so stubborn. It makes it stubborn to be burned because fat cells, one of the primary functions it serves, it insulates us from cold, but it also insulates us from toxins. Fat cells become engorged with toxins to protect all these vitals. Toxins just constantly circulating around the bloodstream in the body would just be massive amounts of wear and tear. So the body's like, fat cells suck that stuff up. Now, remember, I talked about fat in your diet or fat on your body as just fuel. But even if you go to a low-calorie diet and you're doing a lot of exercise, people just have stubborn fat that they can't seem to get rid of. Your body is reluctant to burn this fuel because then you would just be dumping those toxins right back into the bloodstream. Your body doesn't want to do that. And so when people do these heroic diets and do a massive amount of exercise, they don't feel so good because you're just dumping toxins back into your bloodstream. The number one protocol, massive amounts of greens in your diet and do that kind of exercise where you're just doing cardio and load bearing all in one. Lugging your body weight up and down thousands of vertical feet, working the biggest muscles in your body. That's weight loss protocol number one. Number one, no question. Pull that toxic material out with chlorophyll and your body's like, oh good, fuel, we can use it now. That's how you can do so much exercise. We're burning this, and it's this green food from our garden and green drinks that's making that possible. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
An important piece of information that we just forget. It's, again, diet is two things. Pull the funk out, put restorative in. We're always thinking about what we're putting in, not what we're taking out.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I started eating salads for lunch every day this last year, and it made a huge, huge difference. Huge. And I lost weight. Eating the same amount.
But
Well, and the cool thing with just more plant foods in your diet is that you're just eating a greater volume. These are less calorie-dense foods. Like,
Right.
per volume, it's just more nutrients, and these are also high water content foods. I mean, if you eat a portion this size of pasta, or this size of pasta, versus a portion this size of salad,
Yeah,
Right.
you're actually eating more calories just with this much pasta.
right,
Right.
And also, you're getting that nutritive value your body's starving for, and to really make that salad satisfy, put the healthy oils in there. Put a couple glugs of olive oil, not the cheap dressing. You can't beat this simple recipe. Olive oil, lemon juice, sea salt, cayenne. It's a winner. And then you just give it a good shake. You can put it in your daily glass Tupperware thing, give it a good shake. And if you really want to, now olive oil and lemon juice, it can just kind of sink to the bottom and things, what you can do is when you put your greens in there, just kind of mash it up a little bit with your hands. And then when you put the lemon juice and olive oil in there, it soaks it up.
What about balsamic vinegar?
It's okay.
It's okay? You can,
Yeah, no real nutritive effect like apple cider vinegar.
okay.
But it's cool. It's okay.
What about, what's that stuff called? The amino acid thing that tastes like soy sauce?
Brags.
Amino acids.
Not so good. I'm just thinking
No, it's
for
okay.
flavor, like if you put a little bit of that with olive oil,
Yeah.
and a little lemon,
No, that's fine. That's fine. Try apple cider vinegar too.
with a little olive oil?
Yeah.
Okay.
So is lunch supposed to be greens?
So, okay, breakfast. Back to the finish line. So, hot drinks, smoothies. I like to have something in the body right away though in the morning. I used to have hot tea for an hour or two sometimes, and it seemed to work, and then I have a smoothie, but your body likes to have something right away. It really does. Something, even though you may not have much of an appetite, still, have something. Drink just part of a smoothie, and then stick it in the fridge for an hour later. That's what I do. So I make a smoothie, I drink about half of it right away, I stick it in the fridge, I have my tea, and then maybe an hour later I have the rest of the smoothie. Smoothie in the morning, breakfast number one. A few hours later, I'm a huge fan of eggs. Eggs have been in the diet all over the world for tens of thousands of years. And whole eggs. Whole eggs. Egg whites.
I have no fat in my diet and I'm fat. I swear to God.
Egg whites, the whole egg white thing, disaster. The cholesterol in eggs does not affect the body's cholesterol at all. It's saturated fats. And eggs, less than 1 gram of saturated fat. It's kind of the whole similar buzz that fats make us fat when we actually discovered, no, wait a minute, it's the opposite. Most people don't know that. But eggs,
I love eggs.
they don't raise your cholesterol.
Good hard-boiled
Instinctively,
eggs.
the body loves eggs. And the reason that they're a good morning protein is they're an easy to digest protein, where where meat and animal protein, hard to digest. Out of all the animal products, eggs are the easiest protein to digest, so they won't make you tired. So, and I'm a fan, eggs, toast, but go with the elite grains. I'm not such a fan of wheat flour. It's not great. It's cheap. We can produce mass volumes for pennies. I consider rye awesome. Now, most rye bread is just rye flavored bread. Real rye bread feels like a brick. It's that German bread. And it's nice because it's a lot of fiber. It's a really low gluten food. And it's nice. Toast it and it's like, all right, have that with your egg.
Real rye bread.
So
Real
my
rye
Pepperidge
bread.
Farm rye bread is not real rye bread.
Real what?
My Pepperidge Farm rye bread.
No,
is
it's
not-
a total disaster.
What about the?
You got to always look at the ingredients.
I never
Even
would think to. It says rye bread.
I know. It's just a
Like
disguise.
what? Okay.
So always when you're buying these packaged products, just read the back of the wrapper to see what's in it.
Like what's a brand of a rye bread you like?
I don't know. They're all good.
But it's real rye
Real
bread.
rye.
Is that the rye bread that's smaller?
Yes. And it's heavy.
It's heavy.
Oh, yeah.
And then today we had this rice mullet bread,
Yeah, and the reason that we use that is because it's a gluten-free diet here.
but that was really good, I thought.
Yeah,
It
it's
felt
okay.
like a brick. I mean, it's filling.
Well, yeah, I mean but real whole rye bread is better.
But you
Okay.
guys used to.
But again, it has a small amount of gluten in there.
But you used to talk about Ezekiel bread and.
It's okay.
And manna bread.
Yeah,
Okay.
those are okay.
Those, but you like rye better. Given a choice.
Well, I mean, manna bread is made of wheat grains, but it's not flour.
Got it. Okay.
Wheat flour, even whole wheat flour, it's not good. That stuff accumulates in the body, and it's not good.
Ezekiel, is that a brand?
It's a brand.
I know, that's a brand.
Okay, so eggs. You can have eggs as a snack,
Right.
like one,
Well,
two
not
eggs.
so much a snack.
Another meal.
Remember, just
second breakfast.
smaller, more frequent meals. So every few hours.
So you can have
every
eggs
few
and
hours.
a piece of rye bread.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I have a big smoothie. I consume a massive amount of calories, because I'm active. Well, no, not that tall. But I have a big smoothie where it's like a liter of smoothie, and then I have 5 eggs.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that I cook in a 1/4 stick of butter.
I'd be a house.
And, eggs they're only 60 calories, and it's mostly protein.
Oh, I love eggs. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all right. So you have the eggs.
Okay, and
Then
then
lunch.
middle of the day food, salads.
Salad.
And I make a big salad. Again, it's not just iceberg with cheap dressing.
Right.
I really make it a big salad where it's a big handful of greens, and I put a bunch of raw nuts and seeds in there, and a few glugs of olive oil, and then maybe have it with maybe another piece of rye bread, maybe a little cheese, something of that nature. And then a few hours.
What's a little cheese?
I don't eat much cheese because it can be a little bit constipating, but maybe a slice like this long and that.
Of like what would be a good cheese? Like is feta better than?
I don't know.
You don't care. Doesn't matter.
But whole cheese, not low fat. Whole stuff, less
Whole
of it.
stuff, less of it.
Okay, so then middle of the day, I might have a little more sugar, like a pear, or a big handful of cherries, and a few like bites of yogurt. Not bites, but I buy them in these glass jars like this, and it's a little more liquid, so I just drink a little bit of it. And then, so sugar you got to have in your diet. That if you have these elite fruit sugars a couple times in your day, then you're going to crave less processed sugar. You got to have sugar again because it's glucose. We all have a sweet tooth. It's law of human biology. So regular fruit in your diet, it's going to help control your sugar appetite.
Okay.
So after like another protein, fat, sugar snack in the afternoon, small meal, then dinner I have a big bowl of soup, of my soup, and then I just eat a massive handful of greens with it, and that's kind of my dinner.
I can do
So,
everything
boom,
up
boom,
into the dinner because I can't. No one else in my family will just eat that.
Well,
Soup.
My kids won't eat it.
You can make full soup.
I can try. I can try.
And fried chicken is a
I know. I mean, I can try. Where does wine fit into this?
oh, it's one of the 5 food groups. You didn't know that?
I love you if you're
Just
silly.
kidding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's just so bad, so fat, so what is
I
it?
mean, it's sugar and it's metabolic waste from fermentation process, and I mean, unfortunately, alcohol is poison. A little bit of alcohol, is that going to hurt you? Is a glass going to hurt you? I don't think so. It's a tough one because it's easier to overdo it than not sometimes. Well, for many people, and I mean, I kind of enjoy like the buzz, but then I don't know, I just kind of like after it wears off, I don't feel quite so good. So I don't know, I don't even have it. I just like to heck with it every once in a while. But
It sounds like what you're saying for us to maintain this awesome week we're having is go home and eat lots of greens instead of all the junk we're eating. Yeah, it's lots of greens.
Yeah, but I don't feel like
I mean, it's
eat
a little
lot
more
of
to
junk.
it than that.
No,
But
I just feel like I need more greens in my diet.
I feel like there's that's why I have these in my diet, but I feel like
That's going in.
like there's probably too much wine, and I mean there's probably like not enough pure fats.
Just go, yeah, Todd told me, because I
yep,
I mean, I know that sounds
elite
stupid,
elite fats, lots of nutritive foods. Control your sugar
Control
with fruit.
thyroid.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, and then
Sweetheart. Okay, well, and it was of course
exercise.
quite tasty.
Hiking is the best exercise you can do. Number 1.
Hey Billy, I have to run upstairs.
Okay.
But thanks for coming
Good to
again.
see
It's
you.
always good to see
Yes.
you. Thanks for keeping
Okay.
me healthy when I don't see you.
Hey, my pleasure. My pleasure. Bye bye. So exercise. I mean, what?
I thought those bars you just said it was a meal substitute.
It's a meal. It's a small meal.
Like Claire had them
Yeah.
this morning.
Yeah, you're getting some natural sugar, protein. You're getting some protein fats from the almond butter and flax seeds and some of my protein formula in there. So, yeah, it's
Like almond butter is something I would never ever eat because I just feel like it's like eating peanut butter.
okay, so nuts and seeds, important to have raw. Important to have raw, and most almond butter is roasted almond butter. And so make sure your almond butter is raw.
Oh, okay.
So what
And
am I
now you're
finding
good.
out?
And have it with some fruit.
But it has to be raw almond butter. So would that be at Whole Foods?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all.
Okay, you really have to. I mean, it's so deceiving.
Yeah, I know.
Do you have a website? Where do you get your powder?
Yeah, I have a website.
No, really, they have raw almond butter.
I know, but where am I gonna find it?
In the nut section.
Yeah,
In the nut section.
Oh, yeah.
So it comes in a can or something?
yeah.
I have to go write some of this down so I don't forget.
Well, you know what? I recorded it.
Oh, good, good.
And I'm going to give you a link where this recording will be posted on my blog. I can't email a recording like this because it's too big.
Okay, I love it.
Can I ask you a question about eating at night in terms of,
Yes.
some people are saying you really need to cut it off at like 7 o'clock. I mean, that's not realistic. I have kids and all that. Like, is that a very big effect if you're eating healthy?
Well, okay. I mean, yes and no. But I think the more important thing is at night, less fuel, more restorative. So less carbs, more protein. Protein's not really going to make you fat. It's restorative. You can overdo protein where then it can just accumulate in your body and it becomes a little toxic, like too much animal protein. But when is your body doing its restoration? When you're sleeping. So you don't need fuel so much. You just need the restorative. And also, if you're doing more soups and salads, these are just higher water content, lower calorie foods. Where eating this soup I'm talking about that you had last night, it's hard to overdo that. I mean, it's hard to eat too much soup, right? And remember, have enough fat in there so it satiates your appetite so that later you don't want to just eat too much ice cream or junk food, snack food before you go to bed.
Yeah.
So remember, fats really satiate. What you're going to find, so here's an example. If you had 200 calories of macadamia nuts, it would satisfy your appetite way more than 200 calories of bread or crackers. Does that make sense?
3 macadamia nuts?
Well, I don't know.
They are like.
Well, okay, so, and remember that fat is fuel. So if you have adequate fat in your diet, you're going to find that at the end of the day, you're going to be consuming fewer calories.
Let me ask you this. If you're going to eat animal protein, and maybe once a day, like say like dinner, there's going to be a meat prop, there's going to be a piece of meat. Would a good dinner be maybe a chicken breast, a vegetable with a little butter on it, kind of
Sure.
when you're done?
That's okay. I wouldn't have animal protein every day.
Not every day, but
I used to. Wear and tear.
wear and tear. So what, like 3 days a week?
Up to
Okay?
you. That's okay.
It's okay.
3 or less.
And what about fish versus other foods?
Again, fish is just so questionable because virtually every kind of fish now is toxic, whether it's farm raised or caught from the ocean. I mean, there are going to be exceptions, like if you're having a trout from a high mountain lake.
Yeah.
It's toxic because of the water it's swimming in?
Yes. If once in a while, is it going to hurt you? No. Have it regularly? I think so. I think so.
How do you feel about rice? Brown
It's okay.
rice?
It's okay. It's definitely better than pasta.
But when quinoa is obviously better than brown
Quinoa, brown rice, they're all good. I mean, but you want to use them as like a way to have lots of greens.
Yeah.
Steamed kale, spinach.
Throw
Again,
that stuff in it.
the way to do it is just to cook a pot of quinoa, brown rice, whatever, and then at the very end, turn the heat off and throw a big handful of greens in there. Put the cap on, and the heat's off, and it just gives it like a gentle steam. And the reason that it's nice to steam things like kale is just eating it raw all the time can be a little hard to digest. It's a coarse food. Easier to digest tender greens like arugula and spinach and things of that nature. They're easy to digest.
Yeah, that does
Yeah,
sound
and
really
then
good.
you throw a big pat of butter in there, squeeze a lemon or sea salt, whatever, and okay, it's like that's a nice meal now.
Somebody said to me that.
I personally do very few grains.
Okay.
I don't do many grains myself. I mean, rye is sort of being an exception.
When you put kale in the Vitamix, and you're grinding it down to nothing, does it lose its fiber?
No.
It's still there, right?
Yeah.
It loses its fiber if you put it through the juicer.
Yes.
But not in the Vitamix?
No.
Okay.
Because I find if I juice kale or spinach, there's no juice. I mean, you get nothing out of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're getting the nutritive out and you're getting chlorophyll.
Okay.
Juicing's cool. You know, personally,
I get too hungry. I would rather like,
I just like to throw the whole plant food in the blender and sort of semi-liquefy it. Like tonight, you have this raw spinach sauce, where all it is the whole spinach put in the blender with olive oil and lemon juice. That's it.
ooh,
What's the
I
sauce
like
then?
that. That sounds so good. But how much olive oil?
How much you want? It's kind of hard to overdo olive oil if it's raw. I mean, you know, it's...
Well, but like sometimes I find in the Vitamix, when you're like putting the vegetables in the Vitamix, if I don't have enough liquid, they don't. Like I do, like sometimes I do better in the food processor because they just chop. Sometimes in the Vitamix, I feel like it needs a lot of olive oil to get a consistency.
Yeah. No, that's okay. So this recipe that we do, it's like a cup of olive oil, a cup of lemon juice, and then we just pack
Okay,
the...
so a cup of olive oil.
Yeah,
okay,
but
okay.
then we pack the Vitamix solid with spinach, and then once you grind it down, I mean, there's like probably 5 or 6 cups of this spinach sauce. That would obviously not eat that in one sitting. That's
That
about
sounds
what we
delicious.
would. That's about what we would serve to you guys. You know, so, and it's nice because we're pouring that over steamed quinoa. So you're getting that. You're getting your greens, but it's liquefied and it's still raw.
That sounds
nice.
so good.
Yeah, it's a nice one. It's an easy one.
That's an easy one.
Talk about chocolate, because I cannot eliminate that.
I'm a
from
fan.
my diet.
I'm a fan of a little chocolate.
I mean, I'm one of those people who, like, I don't know if I need it or like it, but I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah, no,
What
me
kind of
neither.
raw dark chocolate?
The elite, really dark, no sugar, less of it.
Yeah.
Like where it can get away from us is like
I have
just
to write all this down, or I have to get your newsletter immediately.
You're gonna get on the thing.
So regular milk chocolate, it's just a lot of sugar. Remember, it's the quality fat that satisfies, and also chocolate just naturally satisfies your appetite because there's something in there called theobroma. But a little bit of, like a quarter of a bar of ultra dark chocolate, it's not that much sugar.
You know how it says like 70%?
Personally, I choose the brand. I try all the different brands, but the one I like is green and blacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in
And I just go with the 85%.
85%. Okay, that's what I needed. I need to understand the percentage.
Yeah, and I love it.
Yeah.
I just eat a few squares, and
What about carrot?
it's a bean, and it's cool. It's totally cool.
I should
You know,
send
it's,
these things like tiger milk
I
bars.
know, I try to get my kids into it.
yeah, no,
It's
carrot's
phenomenal.
okay.
Tiger milk bars? Don't you remember this?
Carrot's like a chocolate
You
alternative.
need those carrot chips that they try
Yes.
you put on.
Because chocolate's a stimulant. You can overdo it.
Oh yeah.
But when you're going the ultra dark, it's harder to overdo it.
Yeah.
It's harder to overdo it, but I have to like just kind of train my children. It's hard with kids because they just want to eat shit.
Right.
I mean, they
Kids more than anything want fat because their brain is growing so fast.
do. And I'm
That's
not
why
giving it
kids-
to them because I'm not giving them
That's why kids really love
I know.
whole milk. They love things like whole milk, and that's why they love like peanut butter and things of that nature.
Me too.
So yeah, kids really love. They more than anything they want fat
They
and
want some fat.
protein
Okay.
and protein. Yeah.
Well, they probably eat more vegetables. I put some butter on it, for God's sakes, right?
Yeah.
That
I
might
mean,
help,
butter on
yeah.
their
Kids
vegetables.
Yeah.
love butter.
I do.
They do.
But I'm switching to skim milk when I going whole milk.
Going
Oh,
whole
that's
milk
a
too.
good
I'm gonna
transition.
do that.
Although Sophie won't drink milk because I don't know why.
Yeah, not all. No. Here's the thing about dairy is it doesn't work with everybody. Now, butter works with pretty much everybody. I consider butter to be the elite dairy product. Where, I mean, you can overdo milk, you can overdo, it's harder,
You're not gonna
yogurt's
overdo-
yogurt's
you're
cool,
gonna
you
eat
can
a
overdo
butter.
cheese, but not everybody does well with lactose, milk sugar. You know, milk has been in the human diet all over the world, but not everywhere. So many body types just aren't adapted that well to it.
And what about pasta kids? Like what kind of pastas are reasonable? Because they're not, kids do not stop eating pasta.
No, I don't know. All pastas sort of the same. Just make sure you put a bunch of butter in there.
Can we talk about bananas for a second? Do you banana? Like I steer away from bananas because I feel like they're just so core, they obviously use say.
Well, it's a lot of sugar,
Oh, it's
but use banana as a sweetener. Rather than just eating a banana by itself. I mean, eating a banana is okay, but have it either with protein fat, because then it's a little bit of a sugar stabilizer to metabolize that sugar with a protein fat, where now it becomes a little more of a well-rounded meal.
Like,
But use it as a sweetener in a smoothie. Then you're getting your sugar craving,
yeah,
but then you're getting a whole bunch of nutrition with it.
yeah.
wait, so you would put like banana?
Bananas are awesome in smoothies.
Okay.
Awesome in smoothies. That's what we put in your little green drink, but
Yeah.
we put like this much banana in
Yeah.
this whole thing.
I can tell.
But you can
Yeah.
still taste it.
You can still taste it,
Yeah.
yeah. Those drinks have gotten,
But you don't put
better
strawberries
over
in
the years.
that.
No.
You're holding out on us.
So what are your favorite foods?
Well, the elite sugar, the elite fruits are berries.
So you're all into like raspberries, scissors?
Yes. Yes. Big time.
What about apples?
Apples are cool because I'm a fan of all these high water content fruits like apples, pears, watermelon. You got to moderate the tropical fruits like banana, pineapple, mango because they are higher in sugar. But when you're using it as a sweetener in a smoothie, you're cool.
yeah.
So would you have, so like a raw almond butter with banana on top is a good meal?
It's okay.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, an apple's better, but it's okay. You're getting
Apple is better with almond butter.
well, it's just lower sugar. It's a higher water content food. Where
Well, that
banana,
sounds fantastic. I mean, I could eat that every day. An apple with almond butter.
Yeah.
That sounds
great
yum.
afternoon snack. You're getting your protein fats, and you're getting some natural sugar. It's like a small meal now, rather than just having an
That
apple.
sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
My children would be like, we didn't like mommy's camp.
Well, so with kids, if you peel the apples and slice them up and put just a little sprinkling of sea salt, and then start them with peanut butter because that's what they're so used to. But go with like a natural peanut butter that doesn't have all the cheap oils in there. Put some peanut butter on there and try to then integrate a little almond butter and make a switch. They're going to be stoked. They'll do that.
They're gonna be all over
They're
it.
gonna be all over that.
What?
You get a cookbook. Do you have one out?
I have a recipes blog.
You need to do a book.
I am working on a book because I do newsletters about these nutrition topics, and they're essentially just chapters.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
Good, congratulations.
Thanks.
Is it coming out soon?
Probably not.
You're working on it.
But I have a bunch of writing. I have a bunch done. And it's going to be just kind of like a general health guidebook. It's not just diet.
Yeah.
Most of it is diet, but a lot of it's also just other lifestyle elements like the water we drink, the best exercise for losing weight, and other health reasons.
What else do you recommend? Because you can't hike every day. It's not a,
Right.
You know, it's nice here, but reality is reality.
Right. Well, okay, so I realize not all of us live with like mountains like this, but even if you're on flat terrain, to do a really hard power walk, we're not just kind of talking about going for a walk, but if you really like go, you're walking fast and pumping your arms, carry some water bottles in your hands or 3-pound dumbbells and practice your posture, stand tall, you are going to burn some calories.
You like that better than running.
Well, definitely, because hiking is what the body adapted to. I mean, look what you can do without any rest days, where with running you have to take some rest days because it's more impact, it's more wear and tear on the body, where hiking, the body doesn't need rest days. Maybe eventually, but again, it's just what the body adapted to over 200,000 years of doing this as part of our lifestyle. So hiking is the best exercise. It is, unquestionably. And to do more, the great thing about going up and down is you're doing load-bearing exercise, but do stairs. Stairs are awesome, and you don't have to do it for hours. Stairs are more intense. You can do it for just go up and down for 15, 20 minutes, and you're gonna be sweating.
15 or 20 minutes, yeah.
Well, that sounds like a long time, but hiring a trainer, there ain't no better way to spend your money than that. I've had great success with hiring a trainer because it's hard to like self-motivate. I mean, here we push you. I do regular exercise. I do, but once I sort of get out of flow with it, then I start doing. Using a trainer. Yeah.
Did you just finish your massage?
I feel like I work out like a dog. My diet just must be a little needs to be tweaked.
We haven't had a massage yet.
Well, it's happened. The tweaking has been done.
But before I came out here, I forgot what I read, and they said something about, just think of your food as if it's in its pure state, and it's what it's meant to be. That's probably an okay food for you.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
it's less
Who did you
processed.
have?
Alright, I'm gonna walk up.
And I don't think I eat any processed food, but apparently I do.
Okay, I'm walking up for.
Because I think a lot of it's misleading.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Can
I'll buy an
leave
almond
can I
butter
leave
and
my
it's
email?
not,
My rye
Sure.
bread, I'm
not good
devastated
for
Yeah.
me.
Your
I'm
Pepperidge
very
Farm.
upset about my rye bread, because I really thought I was gonna.
Sorry, I'm leaning over you.
All you have to do is see that ingredient.
So is this for
I
email?
don't think
Yeah.
Pepperidge Farm rye bread all these years is not rye
Well,
bread, and I'm like a fool.
Yeah, but look at the ingredients, you'll be like, oh
Where'd you
my
get post
god.
Well,
up?
why don't I even look at the ingredients? I know that sounds really wacky.
Hi.
Yeah.
But it's really
Good. How are you?
I know.
Good.
Oh, Claudia, did you miss this? You would have loved this.
Well, I recorded the whole thing for
Here
you,
we go.
What are you doing?
so we're good.
Can you read my writing?
We covered
yeah.
everything I wanted to. We covered everything.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I can't tell you how much you just did for me.
Oh, I need to
Thank
go
you.
get my glasses. I
Good.
can't
This
even
is gonna
see.
help us get on your blog.
Yes.
Yesterday, right?
I want your powder. I have to order that.
I just have to write down your information though.
Well, the ashram's actually gonna. You can, but the ashram's gonna give you a link because the recording's posted on my blog. I can't email it to you because the file's too big. We've been talking an
Sorry,
hour
I
now.
dozed off a tiny bit.
Hey, that's okay. No, you were. I could see you were
Really interesting.
You were.
But I was